Gentlemen, happy Halloween. Hope your trick-or-treating and or partying and or doing absolutely nothing went well. Full disclosure, I had intended on doing like a costume with this cocktail this week, but the only one that really made sense with this particular cocktail would have been the dude from The Big Lebowski, and I don't have long enough hair or the right goatee or a bowling ball or a robe, so kind of fell through. I guess I could have been Sam Elliott's character, but he doesn't drink a lot of these. He only drinks sarsaparilla. So we're gonna get started. I have some questions. The World Series is happening, and everyone in their right mind wants to get back to that. So we're going to get this started. As you might have guessed from my preamble, the cocktail I am making is a White Russian. Now, every one of you has probably made one of these before. Certainly has had one to drink before. If you're doing it the way the dude does, it's pretty much built in the glass, which I suppose is fine. But I've learned through making cocktails that typically if you're using something like egg white or cream, half and half milk, whatever that would be, it's better to shake it. Just kind of gives it a little extra body, you know. And since this is a cocktail that a lot of people have had before, have drank before, have made before, I'm also going to make it two ways, like the more traditional on the rocks ways, but then there's another way to make it more of what you would call a lift. I think maybe last season I made a cocktail called the Brandy Lift. And basically just involves using heavy cream or half and half in a cocktail and adding, instead of on ice, you put it up in a chilled glass and you add a little bit of club soda to just kind of give it some of that effervescence and stuff. So it's a unique way to try and change it up if you don't feel like a regular old White Russian. And if you do feel like a regular White Russian, then that's no problem either. Because I'm going to make both. So let's get this started. Ingredient list, as you'll see, is pretty easy. It's 1 ounce Kahlua, 1 ounce vodka, 2 ounces cream. You can substitute half and half or milk for the heavy cream if you don't feel like it being that heavy. Or if, like me, you can't eat dairy, you can use this. They make a lot of good dairy-free heavy cream that is very useful. So let's get started. Now, as I explained, it's 1, 1, and 2. I'm going to be doubling that since I'm making it two ways, but so don't accidentally do that. This is also one of those occasions where even though the heavy cream is the higher volume ingredient versus the lesser volume, I'm going to start with it because that way I can kind of clean out my measuring jigger or whatever you're using with the spirits. So we're going to get started. As I do this, I do have some questions, which I am delighted to answer. Answer. That's the right word to use. Let's start with Brian. He has asked, where did this week go? ? And I assume he means like it kind of went by fast, maybe. I don't know. That's how I feel. It does feel like it's just all of a sudden Friday night and time is ticking by. But so yeah, I don't know where the week went. It went. I don't know. What kind of question is that to ask me? How am I supposed to answer that? It went by fast. I agree. It's kind of a strange one, isn't it? You'll see I'm using Kahlua for this, but if you have any of the other coffee liqueurs that I recommended, they obviously work fine as well. I guess I stick with this because it's kind of what you expect. when you're making a White Russian. It's made with Kahlua as opposed to some of the other stuff, but I also have some very delicious Green Mark vodka. It's Russian vodka. It's kind of hard to find. There's a really great restaurant here in St. Paul called Moscow on the Hill. A really, really good Russian food and martini bar and stuff. And that's where I discovered this. And it's delicious. It's really, really good vodka. So, yes, week went by fast, Brian. Is it concerning to think that the Canadians are about to win the World Series? I mean, it's easy to think that that's going to happen, but, you know, the Dodgers are up right now, and it's not wholly unreasonable to think that they will continue to do well. And maybe, you know, force a Game 7 and maybe come back and win it, you know? It'd be silly to count out the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman and all those guys, so I don't necessarily think of it as they are about to win the World Series. That said, it's not that concerning, you know? It's happened plenty of times before. Toronto won twice in the 90s. I think Montreal won at least once, maybe. I can't remember if Montreal did or not, but so it's not that big a deal. And Toronto's a fun team, you know? I know that we have Dodger fans in our league, but it's kind of fun to root for Toronto. But anywho, what is my favorite Halloween candy? That's a tough one. I'll answer that when I get back after I get some ice to shake up this thing. I'll be back momentarily, gentlemen. Gentlemen, I am back, ready to shake this up and answer the question, what is my favorite Halloween candy? I am partial to Butterfingers, but Penelope made this point earlier this week as well, is that like at least half of the time when you open a Butterfinger, it's like it's old or stale or it's just not quite as tasty and its texture is a little weird. So, I mean, I think it still is one of my favorites, but I'm also a sucker just for classic Snickers, you know? I mean, it's hard to go wrong with the Snickers. But I think my final answer, and this is going to be strange considering the last two I just said are chocolatey and stuff, but Smarties. I love Smarties. Just classic. Just powdered, sugar all pounded into a little hard disc. Whatever, you know? So I'm going to say Smarties. Favorite Halloween candy. All right. Let's see. We're going to strain these into their respective glasses. We've got your classic White Russian on ice. And then straight up, which will be used for my other method, the lift method. All right. So, traditional right there. And now with this, you just add a little bit of heavy or club soda. Kind of foams it up a little bit. If you're going to do like a proper style like lift, or they have another word for it that it's slipping my mind right now. You would want a real narrow glass, because then like the foam will rise up just above the lip of the glass and it looks kind of cool. But that's a fun way to have a White Russian if you don't enjoy heavy cream on ice, or you just want to change it up from something you're used to. I don't know if I've ever seen this often, but I am a fan of the cherry garnish on a White Russian. Actually, I think when I was in Texas a long time ago in Austin, I went and saw a quote-along version of The Big Lebowski at the Alamo Draft House, and then afterwards John Messina and I went to a bowling alley bar, and they were serving White Russians, and I noticed that was the first time I noticed where they had a little cherry in there, and I thought it was kind of a nice addition. Delicious. I do have one last question from Nick. An oddly serious question. Who is the quote-unquote one that got away, and why didn't it work out between us two? And he says, all respect to Karen, obviously. Sure. And it's kind of funny because I don't really think in terms of the one that got away. I mean, I guess it's easy to, when you're in a happy life and a relationship, to be like, oh, there was no one that got away because I'm with the one I'm supposed to be with, So it's hard to say there's any specific one. But I can say that the reason it didn't work out between me and any of the people that I had romantic entanglements with in my life is generally I wasn't a big committer or committee guy. After a while, I sort of bowled my way out of there one way or another, or didn't take it seriously from the start because I didn't want to commit, I guess. So, yeah. All right, guys. Cheers. Enjoy your White Russians, either as a lift or traditional. Either way. Oh, man. Look at all the White Russian I've got to drink tonight. It's pretty great. And if you could be so kind as to abide, the dude abides. And maybe give that movie another watch. It's been a while, I imagine, for most of us. So cheers, gentlemen, to another fine week of fantasy football. And the end of the baseball season, as tragic as that is to say. I hope you all have a fine weekend. And see you next time.